The poll results are in, and 59% of you wanted to hear about off-grid laundry. This is really important when you're going off-grid or if you plan to be off-grid for an extended length of time, because how is the laundry going to get clean? Let me tell you. You're listening to A Lovely Place Called Home podcast, exploring homesteading and off-grid life and how it actually works. This is a place for practical conversations about real systems, cost breakdowns, and what it really takes to build this kind of life. Why is doing laundry different when you live off-grid? Because there's no washing machine. To put it simply, it's because there's no washing machine. And depending on how off-grid you are, that determines how you're doing your laundry. For us, we were like in the beginning stages. And for those who are new here or you don't know, I keep talking in past tense because we have officially sold our farm and we're moving north. We're moving away. So I'm now talking in past tense because this farm and this chapter of our life is gone and we're in an exciting new chapter where we're going to farm up north. So we're planning to do it all again, off grid, the animals, the garden, farming, building a house, all of it we're doing again. So I might talk in present tense / past tense because it is my life, but then sometimes my brain remembers that we finally have just sold the farm. So bear with me as I kind of confuse you guys, but that's what I mean when I say was and were and this is what we did. It's because congratulations to me, we sold our farm. So continuing on, our level of off-grid on our farm was very rugged. It was very small. Our power supply was very small. So in turn, that meant we couldn't have a regular washer and dryer system. We were doing things very old-fashioned and very Laura Ingalls-esque. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. You can take a lot of this knowledge that I've gained and that I want to share with you today and apply it to extended camping trips, or maybe you just want to be off-grid for the summer and you're going to spend your summer at an off-grid camp or something. All of these things still apply. So even if you're not planning to be off-grid full-time, take what I'm saying and apply it to your situation. That's why I want to share all of this with you guys. It's different when you're off-grid because, again, there's no regular washer. Even if you have a quite large generator, it can't power the initial power surge of a washing machine. This is something a lot of people don't know that we learned is, so we got a regular washer and we thought, perfect, we have this really good quality generator. We will plug it in on days when we want to, pay for the gas and do the laundry. Then we thought our washing machine was broken because it would fill and then it wouldn't do anything after that. And that's because the washing machine does something that requires a lot of power, a lot of initial power to continue on in the load. And we thought that it would fill and that the used washing machine that we got was broken. In reality, it's because we didn't have a big enough system to support the washing machine and the power that it needed. Of course, this can be fixed by getting an even bigger generator or a bigger solar power system. We just didn't have that. So the place that I'm coming from in this episode is a place where you cannot have a conventional washing machine. So please keep that in mind as we go through this. I know you could be like, why didn't you just get a regular washing machine? Why didn't you just moving along, pretend there are no regular washing machines in my life? Because that was my reality. That will also probably be my reality going into our next farm. There probably won't be a washing machine, although that is something that I've learned over the 5 years that we spent on that farm doing laundry by hand, that it is a priority that I have a washing machine and a dishwasher. If you guys know me, you know my disdain for dishes. I would rather do 20 loads of laundry than dishes. Okay, so that is something that we are taking into our next farming experience and farming adventure. We know now the priorities that we want. We know that we need for ourselves a washing machine, and a dishwasher, but that might not be the case at the very beginning. So I'll be taking everything that I learned and I'll be applying it to our next farm as well. Let's jump into some of the key things. When you are doing laundry off-grid, it is very intentional. Doing laundry off-grid is an intentional thing that you are doing. It's like going out to milk the cow. It's like going out to feed and water your chickens and collect the eggs. It's like doing your dishes. You have to have those dishes done every day, or else you're going to regret it if you don't do those dishes that day. That is what laundry is when you live off-grid and have an off-grid system, because it takes a lot more time. It's not just a throw it in the washing machine and forget it. Once it's done, I'll pop it in the dryer, I'll hang it on the line. It's not that. It's a lot more labor intensive, and it requires a lot more thought beforehand to prepare you to even do that load of laundry. So that's what I'm going to kind of break down, and you can take from it what you will. Maybe you have a well where you are, so you can skip some of the stuff because we didn't have a well. Maybe you have access to, I don't know, temporary washing facilities on certain times of the year. So just keep in mind, obviously everybody's situation is different, but I do hope you can glean some things from this. We are also going to be touching on water. We're going to be touching on humid days, sunny days, not sunny days, how long it takes laundry to dry, and several different types of washing methods that I used. Oh, as well as detergent. Detergent's very important when you are doing laundry by hand off-grid. It's only fair to break down the laundry routine from summer versus winter because it's vastly different. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of my summer routine and systems that I do and my winter routines and systems that I do. And then those shoulder seasons, just morph them into something else. Morph them into summer or winter, whatever you choose. It really depends on how your weather is where you are. In the beginning, my summer system was an antique wringer washer. This one was partially on the grid, but wringer washers use less power and they just work differently than a conventional washer. So in the beginning, I actually did use a wringer washer. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my wringer washer a lot because I used it a ton. For an entire, I would say, I think it was an entire year I used my wringer washer. The only reason I stopped using it is because we had one of our portable shelters collapse in the wintertime and it actually crushed it, and I unfortunately lost my wringer washer, which is very sad because I loved my wringer washer. I will give you the pros and cons of a wringer washer, and then I'm also going to dive into what I used for the next several years after the wringer washer, which is what I call the bin system. So to begin, the wringer washer. The wringer washer was powered by the generator. Since, again, we had no well, I hand brought buckets of water that I either got from the creek or from our eaves trough. So instead of it just going in the downspout and just going onto the ground, I always had buckets underneath the downspout and I would collect the rainwater all the time. The side that wasn't going into our water collection system for our house, there was one little portion that was just, it didn't angle properly and it had to be run off somewhere else. And so that's where I got my water from for the washing machine, was from that side. So I would bring that water over to the wringer washer, fill the washer up with the water, have all the clothes in there that I was going to wash. And then one of the key things that I'll talk a little bit more about later is soaking your laundry, but we're going to skip that for now. And I would plug my washer in and then I would let it wash the clothes. So another thing with my washer is it couldn't actually agitate the load. It was broken. So the bearing inside of it, and we tried to fix it, the bearing inside of it couldn't actually move the drum. So I hand mixed all of the laundry, which was fine because the most important thing to me with this washer was it did the draining, and the wringer part of the wringer washer was literally the best. Okay, it was the best because I would just turn it on after I was done washing and feed the clothes into the wringer and it would just wring out the other side. And then I had a bin on the other side where I would drop the first round in of the clothes. I would drop it all into there. I would empty out my wringer washer of all of the washing liquid, refill it with the rinse water. So just plain, clean rinse water, put all of those clothes back in, do it all again, wring it out again. And then I was ready to hang it on the line to dry. So that's essentially how a wringer washer works. Again, Wringer washers are supposed to be able to agitate by themselves, but mine was broken, which was okay with me because it's not that hard to get the dirt lifted out of clothing when you do certain systems that I had in place already. That was my wringer washer setup. My next setup is the one that I did carry on for a length of time. It's my favorite one, and you can adapt it, which is what you'll see in my winter setup. It's just an adapted version of what I already did, but it's what I call the bin system. So the bin system has 3 bins. Bin 1 is your wash with the soap. Bin 2 is your rinse. And then bin 3 is that in between, because when you're washing and you need to then kind of wring the clothes out and put them somewhere, that's where the 3rd bin comes in. It could be a laundry basket, it could be a table, whatever. There's 2 main bins you need for sure, and then there's an optional 3rd bin. That first bin is your washing bin. Okay, so in the summertime, this is outside in our laundry area. I think I have a picture of my laundry area. If I can find it, I will put it right here. It worked very well because I had a huge table, and mind you, it was just an old table, but it had a clean top that I could hose off. So my laundry area doesn't look great, but that's because it's always wet and I'm in the dirt. So back to the system. I wash in bin 1. You wash all your things. The bin, it was just a bin from Canadian Tire or something. It was like a storage bin. It was actually blue and ugly, but whatever. I had it. So, and it wouldn't break with all of my beatings that I put it through. It just never broke. So that's the bin that I used, okay? You wash all of your laundry, then you wring it out by hand. It doesn't have to be a perfect job because, again, you're going straight back into your rinse water, but you do want to get the most of that soapy, yucky stuff out. So I did hand wring. This is where I lose a lot of people because hand wringing is quite difficult. You also put a little bit of a beating on the clothes when you are hand wringing. I will say 5 years doing this, almost none of my clothes were worn out or stretched weirdly or anything. Wringing isn't that bad on the clothes. What it's actually bad on is your hands. It's really hard on your hands. I never, and I should have, this is something that I should have done, but you know, we're bootstrapping it, we're getting by, is bought a wringer, either a hand crank wringer that I could have set up, or another thing, and I'm going to do this for my next farm, guys. I'm 100% doing this for my next farm. Commercial mop buckets have a hand wringer for the mop head. I use them I have a cleaning business that I've now retired from, but I used to run a cleaning business and I cleaned a couple commercial buildings and we had big commercial mop buckets with this big hand wringer that you would like squeeze the water out of the mop head. That is something you can actually buy individually from the big bucket, but I would actually buy the big bucket too because it's like a little off-grid washing machine and you can hand wring from that. You just press it. So that's what I'm actually going to invest in on our next farm to have on hand. It's a wonderful resource to have. So I'm getting that for the next farm, but I didn't for this farm. So many things I bootstrap. Once I wring everything out, I then put it into the rinse bin. The rinse bin is just clean water and I do it all again minus the soaking. I stir it around, get all the rest of that residue out of the clothing in the rinse bin, and then I give it a really good wring. So the first wring is like decent, but the second wring, I really want to get as much as I can out of those clothing before I hang it up to dry. And then of course at the end, we're just hanging it up to dry on the line. For summertime, I like to do my laundry in the morning so that it has all day to dry, or I'll do it in late afternoon so that it has all night to dry. And then by mid-morning, if I know it's going to be like a warm sunny day, it'll be dry by mid-morning. So then I can like fold it up and put it away after lunch or something like that. So I do prefer to do my laundry in the summertime in the morning so that it has all day, and then by evening, I can fold it and put it away. But sometimes if I know it's like a bigger item, a bulkier item, like canvas or jeans or sweaters, I will do it like mid-afternoon to evening so that it has all night to drip and then all morning to dry in the sunshine. For winter, it's a lot different. I do not do laundry outside in the winter. That would just be too much. Like, think about it. Think about doing laundry outside in the winter. Oh, what? Are you crazy? Which means I do laundry at a smaller scale and I do it inside, in the bathroom, when we had a bathroom, we had like a camper hooked up to our tiny house, I did it in the bathroom in the camper. When we eliminated the bathroom in the camper and we only had our tiny house, I switched to just doing it in the kitchen in the tiny house, which means it's a lot smaller of a scale. I have to have everything cleaned up. I do it when Curtis isn't home and because he's at work. And I like for there not to be laundry drying when he is home because it is stressful for him to already have a small space and then to have laundry everywhere. It brings him stress. So it's something that I quickly pivoted from in my winter laundry routine, from daytime hanging to dry to nighttime hanging to dry. And I'll explain that more later because not only was it nicer for him, it actually made a lot more sense. So to start off though, my method for winter washing, I used, and some people are like, you're so clever, and other people are like, that's crazy. I used canning pots. I have 2 canning pots. They're my canning pots. I have 2 because I like to do massive things when I'm canning. I don't like canning all day. I'm not even a fan of canning actually. So when I do canning, I'm like, I'm getting this all done at once. So I have 2 big canning pots. That is what I use for my 2-bin system, is the canning pots. They're a perfect size. They surprisingly fit a lot of clothes. Keep in mind, they're not going to fit jeans, like a bunch of like men's jeans or like a bunch of hoodies. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the socks and underwear, all the kids' stuff. It surprisingly fits a lot of stuff. And you can do more than 1 load of laundry with the same wash water, which is also why I do 2 bins instead of 1. If I did 1 bin, I would be getting 1 load washed. I'd have to empty it, which would waste all of that water, and I'd have to do it again. This is also why I do laundry in specific loads, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But back to my winter method. So it's the same as outside, just smaller and at a different time of day. So I have my washing canning pot. I'm washing it, I'm soaking it, then I have my rinse, and then I hang it up to dry. The only difference is it's hanging up inside, which kind of pairs well with smaller loads than my very large loads that I do in the summer. When I'm washing in the summer, I can normally get 2 to 3 loads of laundry, depending on what I have ready to be washed. I can do 2 to 3 loads per wash bin. The bin is fairly big. Like I said, it's like a storage tote bin. I can get a lot of loads of laundry out of that. In the winter, my bin is smaller. So I'm still getting several loads of laundry, but a smaller amount, which ends up actually being good because all of it has to dry inside. And we have limited space inside. What I normally do is wash my white load first, then I'll wash a color load, then I'll wash something disgusting. That's pretty much how it goes. So either a child has wet the bed, I wash that at the end. Curtis's work laundry, I wash that at the end. He works outside. Farm gear, I wash it at the end. The only thing that I wouldn't wash at the end that you would be like, why wouldn't you wash that at the end, is our cow rags. Cow rags are rags that you use to wipe off a cow before you milk it. Those have to have its very own load. It has to have clean water from start to finish. It can't just be like a recycled, already washed a couple other things, because you also don't want to be using a lot of soap and a lot of things like that. So that's the only thing that's like filthy that I won't wash third. But everything else is a free-for-all. Okay, muddy, nasty, splash stuff and dirty mittens and things like that I know are just going to go straight back to getting dirty. Those go in load 3. Like I said before, in my wintertime, I actually will wash laundry throughout the day and not hang it up to dry until bedtime, which is totally okay. So I will do my 3 loads of laundry in the day in the wintertime, keep them all in a laundry basket just off to the side as I get things washed and ready to be hung up. And then at night before bed, I get out my drying racks, which have to go in literally the middle of the house. Like, remember, I live in a tiny house on wheels. It is narrow. So our one main walk-through area becomes the drying zone. Hence why I do this at night. And I hang everything up on the drying racks. And then all throughout the night, because again, they're not using sunlight to dry now that it's winter. They're using the heat from our house. So I just crack open a window, turn on the heat, they're dry by morning or mid-morning. And then I fold it all up, put the laundry racks away, and I do it again. Laundry in the winter is an every single day affair. And that might seem like icky to you, but it's not really that bad. I normally listen to my Bible app on audio on my phone off to the side, or we'll have like an educational program running and the kids will be asking me questions about it, kind of like a Canada People's History type of thing, or just something like that. I'm just washing a load of laundry right there, like while it's all going on. It's not that hard. It's just sticking to a schedule. And it's really important in the winter because you're just all shoved inside. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'll talk about that later, what I do when everything gets too overwhelming for me. But it really is just a routine that you fall into. And the less kids you have, the easier it is. The bigger the kids you have, the harder it is. The clothes are bigger, depending on what you all do for work. If you do have a farm with animals, that changes things. There's lots of variables. But in the end, this canning pot system that I did was super efficient. I will definitely be doing that again in the wintertime. The canning pots stack, they go away. They're multi-use. It's not just like, oh, those are the wash pots. Like, they're just canning pots. They're fine. They're so durable. I got them at the thrift store. They're amazing. All right, let's get into this whole thing I keep alluding to, soaking the laundry. Soaking the laundry is crucial if you are doing laundry by hand and you're off grid, whatever, your power goes out, you're camping. Soaking it for several hours before you actually put in that effort to scrub and agitate and wring and all of that is crucial, because soaking lifts the dirt from the fibers. That is what soaking does. You're soaking your laundry for an extended amount of time in your soap, in your detergent. It's lifting that dirt away so that you can just easily, when you then go to agitate, it just comes right out of each fiber. If you don't soak your laundry, washing is going to be way harder. You're going to have to get the whole like washboard thing and have all of that going on just to lift the dirt out of your laundry. Whereas if you just soak it, I didn't have a washboard. I wasn't washboarding things. If anything, sometimes I do the whole thing where you like take each material piece and kind of rub them together a little bit to kind of loosen up a stain or something. That's the most that I would do. I was not washing. I was not scrubbing with a scrub brush, like washing on a washboard. I was not scrubbing with a scrub brush. None of that. Soaking the laundry is key to this, you guys. Okay, you have to soak the laundry before you wash it if you're washing it by hand. The next thing is hard stuff to wash, like jeans, overalls, big bulky items like comforters. Number one, I would say get rid of things that are hard to wash. Those kid things that are hard to wash, like those puffy, like fleece, but it's fake, plasticky, like poofy, fuzzy sweaters and pajamas and stuff. Get rid of that. It is a nightmare to wash. It holds so much water, and it holds stench actually a lot more when you're hand washing, which is odd because hand washing actually gets your laundry cleaner. But I think there's just something about the artificial fibers and how thick it is. It just makes it a nightmare to wash. So very first, before we go into like how to wash those hard things, getting rid of things you don't need, getting rid of the things that are harder to wash is a really good idea when you live off grid. Obviously, you can't ignore all of it. Like, you can't get rid of your coveralls and you can't get rid of your winter coats. But for things like the pajamas and all the fuzzy blankets that kids sleep with now and that adults sleep with too, like Costco loves to sell you those things, maybe think of using them more as throw blankets that don't need to be washed as much than something that's on your bed every single night that you have to wash all the time on a weekly basis. Maybe think about getting rid of those or packing them up if you're just in a temporary off-grid situation. I think that would really help you a lot. But for things that you are going to wash, something that I always do, always, I have a bin outside that I'm always replacing the water in, but I put in the nasty stuff into this bin. For a while, it was actually a wheelbarrow that just sat on the bottom of Eve's trough, and I put in all the nasty stuff. Like, one time I fell in the pigs, pen and all of my gear and my mitts and my hat was pig poop. Oh, it was so disgusting. I put it in there and I just let the water run through it and I just soaked it and it was messy and I was just like dunking it in and out a million times. There was no soap or anything. It was like a pre-rinse and I was just dunking it and getting it and slapping it on stuff and just trying to get everything out of it before I actually cycled it into a load. Otherwise, I would have had all that pig poop mess in my washing bin. It would have been a mess, okay? So I do a pre-rinse on things that are really nasty. And the pre-rinse is like super messy because I'm outside, so whatever. In the winter, this is a lot harder to do. You can still do it outside though. It can be done outside because, just prepare and dump it all out so it doesn't all turn to ice within 10 minutes. But that's something you just have to keep in mind, that harder to wash stuff. But some people don't know that those harder to wash items like canvas and denim and comforters, as long as you have an efficient drying area, you don't have to wring that stuff out. I do not wring out Curtis's work pants. He has these like thick jeany canvas, like Carhartt kind of stuff. I don't wring that out. Or coats, nothing. It's sopping, dripping wet when I'm washing them. I hang them up in an area that has very good circulation and ventilation for the air. And I prefer to wash those things on a sunny day. And a breezy day is even better. And you just hang that up and they naturally will dry. They will drip dry. You don't need to wring that out. So keep that in mind. You don't have to get rid of your jeans and all your nice puffy coats and stuff. Remember that it can drip dry and then dry in the natural elements. It's not good to have things like that drying inside in the winter if you don't have an efficient heating system, or it's super humid in your house, or it's a super humid day outside. That's not the day that you want to be washing those. They'll take days and days to dry. And by then, they probably will build up some sort of an odor. They'll harbor in any leftover bacteria. It's not good for the clothing. It's not good for your health. So you need to keep that in mind, that weather is very important when you're washing those harder to wash items. Detergent. I make my own detergent / use a natural detergent. You don't need a lot of detergent. And something that really helps me with my hand washing is always having baking soda on hand and vinegar on hand. This can be hard on your hands if you use those together. So I never ever use those together. Don't be like, here's some baking soda, here's some vinegar, now I'm gonna scrub it. I would really recommend you do not do that. It's very hard on your skin, okay? Because that has a chemical reaction. If we know the chemical reaction, it's not optimal to have that sitting on your skin while you're scrubbing. So what I do is, in the wash soaking cycle, I add lots of baking soda. Sometimes I'll add an essential oil, but not usually. And I add my natural detergent. I mix it around, let it soak. Baking soda is actually nice for your skin. It levels out your pH in your body. It's soft on your skin. It's not bad for your skin, the baking soda. Washing soda is a different type of animal because you've changed the compounds of the baking soda to washing soda. I don't use washing soda. It's too hard on my skin. I use baking soda. Okay, so look into that, washing soda versus baking soda for washing, if you want to know all the ins and outs of that. But for me, I did baking soda, I let it soak, and then I wash, wring, rinse, put it in the rinse. Sometimes I will add vinegar to this concoction I have done. So at the very end of my wash cycle, I'll add some vinegar in and I'll agitate it a little bit with a stick. I have like a washing stick thing that I use, and I'll swirl it all around with the stick and let it sit for a little bit longer. Then I'll wring it out. So the only time I'm touching that soda vinegar mix is when I'm just wringing it all out to put it in the rinse cycle. Something I would highly recommend that you do is declutter your wardrobe. If you plan to go off grid, think, do I want to hand wash this? How do I want to handle this item, storing it, hanging it up, having it in my life? I really think this is a great opportunity to get rid of those artificial materials. I know that's hard. I am not a 100% natural material person. Like, I love me a good yoga pant. okay? I like certain materials that are not 100% natural, and that's okay. No one's expecting anyone to be perfect here, but think about certain things, like I said before, those big fleecy fake pajamas and blankets. Maybe pare down or get rid of them completely. Things that have fire retardant on them, get rid of them. It's an opportunity for you to kind of make healthier decisions by default. You're like, well, I can't hand wash it. Guess I'm getting rid of it. And it helps kind of get rid of that guilt. I don't know if you face this, but when I have to get rid of lots of things, like when we've downsized several times to the point where we were living in a tiny house on wheels, I kind of had guilt because I had bought these items and I was like, what a waste of money. Or someone could really use all these pajamas or all these boots or something, and I'm just getting rid of them. But if you have a reason, like a goal in mind, it does help you eliminate that guilt behind getting rid of things. So that could be something that you could think about if you decide to go through your wardrobe and downsize and get rid of certain materials. Like, oh, I paid a lot of money for this pantsuit that's made of horrible material. It's all polyester and made of horrible materials. But you're like, it's going to be a pain to wash. I don't wear it a lot. I don't want to store it in my new life off grid. I'm just going to get rid of it. Donate it to a thrift shop. Somebody else can be blessed by it. And there's different factors that can kind of eliminate that guilt. I don't want you to forget that soaking is very important. Okay, so if you're getting your off-grid laundry system in place, just remember, whatever you decide to do, ringer washer, the bin system, anything, soak your laundry before you wash your laundry. Even if you're on grid right now and you're thinking about moving off grid, and you have a conventional washer and dryer, all of those things, maybe consider incorporating that into your laundry routine just to see how it works into your life. You get your laundry ready, start your washer, let it agitate for a while, and then either if you have a pause setting or if you open the lid and that makes it stop or something, like have it pause and soak. Soak it for at least 2 hours. At least 2 hours, preferably 4 to 6 hours, and then start your load. Your laundry will come out cleaner. You will see the time that it takes, each step. You're going to start feeling that time frame that it takes. And it's a really good way to get your laundry next level clean. Consider making your own laundry detergent. My recipe for my laundry detergent when I make it completely homemade is shredded bar soap, so a natural bar soap. I shred it with literally a cheese grater. The next one, borax. I add a small amount of borax in. Borax is one of those gray areas in the world of natural living, so I encourage you to look up borax, where it originates, how it interacts with the environment, your skin, your clothing. I do when I'm making a 100%, that's all I'm using detergent. I have nothing else incoming, like not a natural liquid detergent, nothing. I do add some borax in. I add baking soda, and then what I add into the load after that is a couple drops of essential oils and vinegar at different stages. So it's a simple recipe. It's literally shredded soap, borax, baking soda. You can switch that out for washing soda. Again, I use baking soda because I am really manipulating the laundry with my hands a lot, my bare hands. I don't wear gloves because, let's face it, the water's going to get under, and then you have that nasty, sweaty feeling hand in the gloves type of a thing. So I do baking soda, not washing soda, but 3 ingredients. 3. That's it. Okay, it's super easy if you want to do it. You can even incorporate this now into your life. Regular conventional washers can do homemade detergent, and you can add it as an additive. You could do like a half scoop, like a quarter cup of your homemade detergent with your regular liquid natural laundry detergent. It's going to get your clothes next level clean. Put the vinegar into your softener section of your washing machine. So where you would add your softener in, which I do not use softeners, I only use vinegar. Put your vinegar in there. You're good to go. Lastly, I do want to say, you are not a failure if you have to go to the laundromat or your friend's house to do laundry or your mom's house. Many times I would get overrun with laundry, or we would get the flu, or I would be too busy to just do the laundry. This is a huge thing in the wintertime for me. And I would invest in spending an evening at the laundromat. I'd have to drive to the nearest laundromat and go to the laundromat. It was more of a once every 2 months type of a thing. I would just take all the big stuff, the big duvets and the big coats and Curtis's massive, like our overalls that we only ever wear outside. But I'm like, this is the time I'm going to wash them. And I just did everything there. And it was kind of like a clean slate. And then you can restart your systems again. You can restart that routine. You're like, I have no laundry built up anymore. Every day I'm going to drink a tea and I'm going to wash this laundry. It's going to be great. And just see how long you can go before it kind of overtakes you again. And then go to the laundromat or go to a friend's house and just say, like, friends are really, if you have a good friend, you have a good friend. If you have parents, I hope you have parents that are like, just come over and use the washing machine. Like, just use it. We'll visit. The kids can play, whatever. I did that with my mom a lot. When I didn't want to pay an arm and a leg for the laundromat, I would go to my mom's house if I was visiting, bring a couple bags of laundry, and do laundry while I was there. And it's just how you get by. Because I don't want you to feel what I sometimes felt, where you're a fail if you're not fully doing the off-grid thing. You're not a fail. This is modern materials and modern clothing and modern bedding are extremely hard to wash. Back in the day when they were hand washing things, all of it was cotton or linen or a natural material that they had made. And that's what they washed. They're much easier to wash. They did not have these polar fleece hoodies. They didn't have puffer jackets made with artificial down in them. Like, it's not the same thing. So you have to give yourself grace that you're not going to do it perfectly. Or maybe you will. Maybe you'll hand wash everything. That's amazing. I went long stretches where I was just doing everything by hand. I didn't go to the laundromat or my mom's house for an insane amount of time. But then I got sick, or then we went away, or then a cow died, and I just couldn't bring myself to just do the laundry. I had other things to worry about. I had other priorities in my life, and I didn't want laundry, something as simple as laundry, to overtake me and overtake my mental health or my physical health. So be okay with sometimes, if you have that option, just go to a laundromat. Just go to your parents' house. Just go to a friend's house. If you're new somewhere and you've moved off grid somewhere and you have none of those things, somewhere, unless you are in, I'm telling you, remote, you're probably not watching this, somewhere there will be a laundromat, okay? It's not a big deal for me to drive 1 hour for a laundromat. Maybe your your closest one is 2 hours. Okay, make it a huge deal. You're going that extra distance. You're going to wash all the laundry. You're going to pick up the new car parts you need. You're going to go to the hardware store. You're going to go to a superstore and bulk up on all of your baking supplies and your prepping stuff. Like, make it a whole thing so that it is worth it to do that. Sometimes it's just how you have to get by. It's sometimes not, this is something I'm going to conquer in off-grid living and self-sufficient living. Sometimes it's, this is how I'm going to get by until I can build myself to the next stage, or till I can grow into this new phase of life. It was never supposed to be for us. I was always going to wash laundry by hand. On our new farm that we're buying up north where we're moving, it's not going to be, I want to do laundry for the rest of my life by hand. I'm going to sustain the resources that I have. I'm going to do my laundry by hand until I can build up to that next step, which is hopefully a regular washer, not a smart washer, none of that, just a regular washing machine. You have to be okay with growing into that, and just, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. Go to the laundromat. I know it's so tiring. I get that laundry can be so tiring. I'm now feeling like I'm speaking to those who are already doing this and are looking for more efficient systems. It's gonna be okay. You're not a fail that you have heaps of laundry. It's not a fail that you just spent what you feel is way too much money at a laundromat, when in your brain you're like, why didn't I have a better system? Why don't I have proper water? Why don't I have a generator that can run a regular washing machine? I'm wasting money. It's not efficient. I'm being irresponsible. It's okay. Okay, it's okay. Don't let laundry hurt anything in your life. Okay, I know laundry is an every single day thing. Same with dishes and laundry. Every single day. Your family's affected by it. They need the clothes, they need the bedding, they need the coats. But it is important. But it's not what's going to get you into heaven. Okay? It isn't. So it's okay. Go to the laundromat. Save up your money for a better system. Just experience your daily living. Do the laundry or take a mental day and don't do the laundry. It's gonna be okay. From the bottom of my heart, I have been there. I've had so much laundry. I remember at one point I cried because we had no clean laundry. Everyone was sick. It was mud season. Mud season is spring here. It was spring. It was mud season. Everyone had gotten sick. I couldn't bring myself to do the laundry. I remember the car was broke down. I couldn't even go out to do the laundry, and I cried. And looking back on that time, I learned so much, but also it helped me remember it's gonna be okay if you wear a not that clean sweater, and then get your act together with your systems and do some laundry tomorrow. Okay. I hope that helps. I hope that the systems that I kind of broke down benefit you in some way. The 2-bin system is a game changer. It's amazing. The canning pots, they fold away, they store away super well. It's a really good system. Using something like a stick or something to agitate, or your hands if you want to, and just wringing it out, whether you buy a wringer, whether you wring by hand. I hope that you take something from this and that it can help you in your off-grid journey, even to visualize what you want. Like, what do you want? Think about your priorities. What do you want? How many kids do you have? What kind of laundry do you have? How much laundry will you be making? I know a lot of retired people go off-grid and they want to do this. You're going to have way less laundry. You might be less hard on your laundry. You can have specific coats. You know, kids don't really follow the rules on the laundry. They're like, I'm going to wear this beautiful princess dress outside with the chickens, while my mom's over here and doesn't see that I've swapped out my play clothes for this princess dress. And then the princess dress is trash. It needs its whole entire bin to itself to wash. When you're retired, you're not wearing the princess dress out to do the chickens, okay? You can have separate outside clothes, inside clothes. So you're going to adapt that differently to your life if you're retired, or if it's just the two of you and you don't have kids yet. Take everything I said and apply it to your vision, to what you want in your off-grid system, your goals, where you want to go, all of those things. And in the end, like I said before, when I was trying my best to give you some encouragement, I don't know if that helped you or not. Think of your goal. Always have a goal, so that you can remember in those times when it's really hard, when you feel like you're failing, you can be like, look at my goal and look how far I've come to get to that goal. I will reach the goal. This is not the end. This is not where I'm staying. I'm not stagnant here. I am reaching for something, and I will get there. I will get there. So it can help you carry on and move through your day, no matter where you are in life, no matter what system you have. I know we're just talking about laundry, but daily chores when you're off grid can really be taxing on your mind because they never end. When you're off grid, there is no break. You don't get to all of a sudden turn off the generator or flip the inverter off and turn your power on and go back to normal living. You will not ever get a break. So it can be taxing on your mental health and your physical health. And I know that from experience. That's why I'm saying this. Have your goals so that when you're feeling discouraged, you can look at those goals and remember and be reminded you're doing a great job. You're moving forward. You're working towards something, and you will get there in the end. If you have another basic, practical, off-grid thing that you want me to talk about, please drop it in the comments below or DM me on Instagram or something. Let me know so that I know what you want to talk about. I do want to touch on heating systems, and I do want to touch on bathroom facilities eventually. I just wanted to start with laundry because I get that a lot. I put out a poll. It had super good feedback for the laundry. That's why we touched on laundry first. I hope that you really liked this episode. I hope that you gleaned something from it, and I will see you next time.